All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is, well, I had to say Monday, right? Monday, December 23rd of 2019. This is the TRC Helpline. I'm sure I won't have a big crowd here today because, as you know, for the next week, we are Monday Helpline only, no other calls. We will resume the regular schedule after New Year's Day, and I think that does put us at a mastermind day. So I'll be there, and I'll be there on that Friday. So knowing that I'll have a small crowd here today, I'll open it up, and we can get started right away. Hang on one second. Let's get it rolling. All right. I only got a fistful. I got my loyals on here. It looks like I got Kate, I got Gail, and it looks like I don't know, maybe Scotty or Kyle. So that's all I got so far. So you guys are up. Let me know what we got.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, not yet. Don't rush us. Let's get Santa first. I want Santa first.
Ho, 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 he's coming to town. Well, when I was talking about calling, I was talking about my telemarketer. I just wanted to make that clear because I think that she thought that she'd call, the rest of the time, and I just didn't set up a schedule. But I think for next year, I've already got that set up so that we all have an understanding when you can call and when you can't call during the holidays.
Yeah.
So I love that conversation.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, and let me ask you, while we have a more of a private moment, because you are one of the people that, and it's been great. We've been having these telemarketers jump on that sales training call. I get to hear the different voices. It was interesting, each one of them has a different voice, and I can almost tell when I have a real telemarketer or not. What's your opinion so far of how Rebecca is doing for you, and what do you think? What do you think so far?
Well, I think she is a true telemarketer.
Yeah.
When I hired her, and she said she would be in I don't know what you call it, where there's 5 or 6 telemarketers there. A lot of them would be playing games while they'd be going through their, going through their dialer.
Right.
And she said that she made it kind of like a game for her, so that she would, who would be the person she would talk to. So she really enjoys doing it. And I think that's the essence of what I have to have as a good telemarketer. She's getting, she has maybe 15 people she's calling back or more. But we're just kind of working those out right now. But I stay very close to what her appointments are in Mojo. So I'm really close to knowing almost everything that she's doing. So I think she's doing great. And
let me ask more specifically. Let me go qualitative and quantitative. Quantitatively, how's the spreadsheet beginning to look? I'll see if I can pull mine up while we're talking about it. How's the spreadsheet? Are the metrics, do you have enough of them to kind of tell where she's at, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah. So let me look too.
Okay.
On her last one, because we had a time. Okay. Remember, I think we just got the new one up and running. So coming up. She's very good at all of that. She's very good at details. I mean, she's so unlike me. I'm pretty cryptic on my notes because I understand I have really good memory, but basically she's so good at that. So she's still using the old one. It's not giving us live conversations 28, marketing package sent out 1, phone appointments booked 31. But I don't think she's using the new one. We just, the one where it evaluates percentage wise what you're doing.
Okay. All right. I just pulled it up. So I'm pulling it up here so we can look at it together. By the way, welcome if you're joining us late here. Gail and I are just talking about telemarketing. I see Alan on Facebook. Don't know who's in the group, but certainly got plenty of time here today for what I'm sure will be a small group. But looking at this, so here's where we're at, and we're going to have to do some adjustments here with this spreadsheet because I'm going to want probate marketing versus expired. I'm going to really want to go into more of a qualitative thing in 2020. So I'll be talking to Serena and both Autumn and Laura about that. But why so many on the phone appointments? Hi, Chris. Why so many phone appointments? Hey, Chris Egan and Allison Egan, I want to talk to you. I need some stuff from you for the website. So why so many phone appointments? Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. Because Gail, that's just a curiosity because really, ultimately, and again, it might be perfect. Again, I don't know. I'm asking. I'm curiously asking. I wasn't condemning. I'm really asking.
No, I know that.
Right?
No, and it's a good question because she's just bubbling them up to the top. Sending out packages. I mean, I'm pretty much in touch with everybody that she's talked to.
Yeah.
I go through my calendar on Mojo, and I go and I look at everything because that's where we put the appointments and the discussions. And so I know exactly what she's doing because she writes really good notes. And it's just that's the way it's worked out so far.
Okay.
Just people are waiting for packages. The New Year's coming or something's happening.
Okay.
So that's what's happening on the 31.
Okay, cool. All right. So which is good. I mean, I'll tell you why I'm asking. I'm really trying to, I think we're on to something big. I really felt this sense of confidence. Sometimes it's really ironic, and I'll get into the head stuff when we get back to work, after the holidays. But I finished this year for the first time with a level of confidence that there is a sense of control gained back over the horns of the bull, meaning that never have I felt so certain about an ability to get real qualitative conversations with the right avatar on the listing side. And I can see that we actually have the next level of a benefit of being able to cull that herd even, because when you look at these metrics for 8 months, again, I think, the last year's stuff will cleanse itself a little bit and I'll get really fresh start. But 292 marketing packages is very important to me to the extent that means, a lot of those, at least now more than 50%, I could guesstimate, have truly given us qualitative permission to market, right? I mean, listening to...
You know what? The way that I think we need to go over together, you and I, with Rebecca, because where she has phone appointments booked 31, live conversations 28. That doesn't match.
Yep. That's my point, right? That's my point. We need to, and again, it's not her fault. We need to check these spreadsheets.
No.
Yeah. But remember what I was saying to you was and just so you all transparently hear me, one of the things that I suggested to Gail that I'm seeing with a lot of people that are doing their first real hire like this, there's a little bit of an abdication because the tendency in the past has always been get this remote caller and sort of let them do their thing. And you think you're managing them and you're not. And so one of the major reasons for having somebody local or close to local, 45-minute drive, 40-minute drive, is so that you can meet with them physically. So there's this sense of, number one, belonging. They have to sense that they can belong to something. And number two, they can't hide from you in a positive sense where we are looking for their tactical report. Imagine, but watch this war movie last night, war documentary, more like it. There was this, staging area for this attack of these Apache helicopters. And that's where all the strategy is discussed and gone over. But the minute those people go out and tactically implemented themselves, there was real feedback about what had happened. And they're just people that it turned out like in Iraq, the National Guard was just waiting for them and was in a spot nobody thought about. So they come back with that tactical information and it made a huge difference going forward. That's what she's doing. So by sitting still and meeting with her for a solid hour, that's where you look at these metrics and you discuss them. You make sure that we're only as good as her ability to bring you the accurate metrics, right? And if something looks out of whack to me, I begin to question it. Like I put some stuff in here, like for example, listings expired. I don't know that those are anything to do with me. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure that out. I mean, we didn't get and then expire 15 listings. So I got to figure out what the heck that is, right? And then we deleted.
I got the
Yeah.
same thing on mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, one of the things that's also missing here is how many, you know, contacts did we bring in for probate, for FISBO, for, you see what I'm saying? How many did we allow through, you know, into this thing? So that really, as time goes on, the system itself is being built to be tighter so that if you have to change out personnel later on, you'll know immediately if they're not doing this correctly because you'll have a sense of what's achievable. Now, the biggest thing here, and it was interesting to watch Autumn really fret live conversations to dials was only 8% as she waxed on poetic about it being 10. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't see her metrics there. So then we take it down here, right? And we go down. So if there's one metric that is really like, you know, super critical, those are master. Let me see forget which one she's under.
We don't have the same spreadsheet. I know that Laura sent it to us, but that's not happening.
Well, we'll get Serena. That's easy. Get Serena.
Okay.
Get Serena and say, how come I don't have the same one? What can I do to get the same one? Just, you know, if there's something missing, I don't want to mess with your metrics, but I'm going to have her do a little bit of work quickly to adjust this. But suffice to say, let's go down the end of the year. Okay. So here we are in these last weeks. So I start to look at, you know, this is that key number. Live conversations to dials. Well, there's the 10% that she wanted, right? So going up to that week, you see that there was 22 telemarketing hours. So you see her part-timeness. You see that, you know, she's not dialing wildly from a, you know, she likes to do a lot of single dialing. She's got 23 live conversations, 9 packages sent. So the first thing that I do as a manager is say, whoa, that's a lot of people. Okay. 23 people and only 9 sent. What happened with those others? That's how you manage this with them. Right. So I would be sitting here. Laura's not in today, neither is Autumn, but I would be saying, all right, ladies, tell me about this. See, as the GM, I'm saying, I want to know what's going on here. That's huge. You talked to 23 people. Like, what were they like? Tell me, entertain me. Like, did they hang up quickly? And what did we do? Because then what I'm saying is, how come there's a 0 delete contacts? Something doesn't line up. See what I'm saying? So I'm learning as I go tactically that I'm coming back and saying, this doesn't make sense to me. You said you had 23 live conversations. Now I can delegate this to Laura at this point and say, okay, where is the proof of 23 live conversations? Because that totally screws this metric up 10% if that's not true. And I don't really care about somebody's guess. I mean, this is working to the extent that we know that really we are sending packages. I mean, I know it's happening, right? I see them going out. I know I'm getting appointments. I know I'm getting listings. I just want the metrics to be telling the truth so that I can make the adjustments. So the reason for that weekly meeting is to stare right at a column like this for the week and say, tell me about it, right? Tell me about this. So there you go.
Yeah. And so we're just learning as we're going. You're going to separate out expired, canceled, expired / canceled, and then probate.
Yeah, I would like to. I would like to. I don't know how complicated that will make it. I would like to. At bare minimum, I would do marketing packages sent by orientation. I don't know that I want to do a whole new thing here. You know what I mean? I might my next evolution of this might be to just do the 3 types of packages sent and then just leave this alone. I don't want to, I don't want to overanalyze something and make it difficult on those 2 to report to me. I'm thrilled to have any metrics, right? So that I can look at this and then share them with you all and subsequently say, look, I think here's what you can expect. And this is why, you know, with all certainty, and to Doug's point the other day, he was concerned about like, well, that's not a lot. Well, I don't know that these metrics are perfectly right either. But I will tell you this, picking up the phone and having conversations and getting stuff out the door, we are 100% getting listings. So I don't know what those metrics will look like for somebody, but like Doug was saying, and he had a good point when I got a chance to sleep on it, he said, well, that's why people pay Zillow. Well, wait a minute. Good point. How much does 22 hours of a telemarketer doing this, where at bare minimum, you know you're going to get some real live conversations, real packages out the door. And so if you do want to pay for something that you don't do, see, he was discouraged, I think, because he's looking at, well, I should, and this was where Craig Proctor's advice is wrong. It's just wrong. I do think it's a great exercise if you will do this, make those phone calls 10 to 20 hours yourself, okay, and get your own metrics. I think that's a great exercise. But to keep saying that you have to do that or you should do that is wrong. Okay. Because immediately, if we have a systematic approach and you can get somebody who can dedicate 10 to 20 hours for you and you can buy those services, let's presume it's $15 an hour for 10 hours, you're talking about $150. So what would it cost you alternatively to pay Zillow to what? Give you some random sign calls off of their, process. See what I'm saying? It's a knockout punch for this. It's a knockout. Because you're having real conversations, you're getting permission to market, you're driving traffic, and it's all about listings. Zillow's all about buyers. So I loved the conversation after I got a chance to digest it that says, look, here's reality. Here's reality. And it monetizes. And don't forget that the return in 8 months worth of doing this, the return is starting to look pretty exciting. I don't have a 12-month, running metric yet. It definitely took her some time to get up, but I can make an argument that in a lot of your markets where there's turn, you'll probably get a result faster on the sale. She has well over, a couple biggies in there, right? She has well over, I think 4 million. And I definitely can tell you right now, she's going to get another sold out of this one down the street. And we got it at 3% on a co-broke, 5% on a direct. And I just picked up a buyer from it, a really good sell buy this week. So it's just stunning how this thing grows roots. So anyway, Gail, I go on, but I want to get you in that dialogue, the way I see it, the way I think about it, and what you're actually doing with her. It now becomes quantitative. Are her numbers correct? And qualitative. What is the quality of these, these conversations and these packages, right? That's it. That's all there is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. My concern is delete contacts is very few. Why were there this many conversations and only 2 delete contacts? What happened in the 9 where we didn't get, a package out the door? I mean,
so what are you saying? Say that again. You're concerned about the delete packages? Delete
contacts. Why are we having a live conversation 24 times? And 15 times that they gave us permission. That leaves me 9. And I only see 2 delete contacts. So I'm going to presume of the 9, 2 got deleted. Where are those 7? See, but the math just now I know what to ask in the meeting. So I meet with them and say,
for me, she can't delete. So she says, Gail, I think we should do this or that.
Well, there's your meeting. But there's your meeting. There's your meeting.
Yeah, got it.
You got it? Perfect. There's your meeting. Gail, I there's 9 of them I didn't get a package out, so there's no more follow-up. And my thought was delete them all. Good. Tell me about them. Because there's not that many of them to deal with. Okay, 1, 2, here's my notes on them. You zip through 9 people. You make an executive decision, and this might say 9. Now the math is perfect.
Yeah. Like she has, and I didn't look at this because for whatever reason, I'm looking at it now. New listings taken. She has 43. She means the expired listings that came in. So I really have to speak with her, and I need to get the new spreadsheet. I thought we had it, and she has been sick. So yeah. Okay,
cool. Well, we'll make sure that's all rectified. But this is a real. This I don't know that there's anything. Yeah, I don't think there's anything more important than this spreadsheet right here for me. And obviously, you know what that means for all of you. I just don't think there's anything more important. This is the driving engine that broaches, pulls people. And again, I'm not going to make it about expireds or probates or FSBOs. If these were internet leads, there has to be, and this is where people say, well, I do past clients. Well, you're not listening to me then. Okay. Past client is a whole different module. This is a telemarketing tracker for calls that are outbound calls to people that we don't have relationship with. Hello?
And I'll be back as soon as I can.
Hello?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. All good. Get me a Starbucks too. Yeah. All right, awesome. Let's keep rolling. Thank you, Gail, for bringing that up because I just think it's everything. It's just really, this is a super important issue. Super. But now you're seeing how to manage her better, right? And again, she's not doing anything wrong. She's just, they're fumbling and they're trying to learn the business of real estate. They're trying to make the phone calls. They're trying to understand the package. There's a lot going on here for them. But now what you're trying to understand is how to become a more effective leader. Lindsay Barlow, I don't know if you are actually on the call or just on Facebook, but we dealt with, your gal Linda the other day, and I would love to talk to you about it if you are on here. So I'll deal with that if you are. All right, who's up next? Brad, are you here, by the way? Brad? Brad Howard had some.
Hey, let me ask you a quick, before you move on, let me ask you a quick question. You're just referring to when you say the new spreadsheet, you're just referring to a clean version for 2020, correct?
Yes, but
or have you added
well,
anything to it?
Well, that's a great question because I'm going to probably have a conversation with Serena about one thing for sure. And that is, I don't, now that this has really become clear to me, Dean, that this is a driving force of my business, I would like to know the difference between the marketing packages sent out to probates versus expireds versus FSBOs. I would like to know that because I'm trying to go ahead. Come on. I cut you off. Come on.
So would you do that as a separate page, or would
no,
you just do that as a separate line item in the same page?
Separate line item because it doesn't really affect the metrics per se. You know what I mean? So new listings, telemarketing expires. See, I guess the metric we're missing here is packages sent to dials. That gives me a marketing reference point. And I'm looking at this, I see that we don't have that, right? So when it gets down to these ratios, how many, live conversations to dials, appointments to dials, new listings to dials, I probably would say packages to live conversations. What's that ratio? You know what I mean? How many?
That one I like, Danny. You know why? Because we send, unlike you, we send out all the packages to probates and expired regardless. So regardless of whether we talk to them or not. So I'd like to know the ratio between her having a conversation and sending out a package. That's really important because that's permission marketing, and that'll make a big difference to how we, what the importance is between just sending out packages and then sending out permission packages.
Yeah, let me see if I can get Serena while we're doing the call to jump on here so you can hear me say this in front of you all. And if not, I will just deal with her. But as I look at this, Dean, I think that's really important it's the number of packages to live conversations, right? I don't really need, I tried to clean this up down here. I didn't want all these ridiculous metrics that didn't mean much to me, right? So live conversations, appointments, new listings. I mean, I might even just think on all of this and say, what is the most important metric here? Because we've got, appointments to dials. Why is that not being filled in? I got a couple questions here about what's screwy about this, right? So I gotta look at this.
All right, so you're gonna have her put a clean 2020 version of that together, so I don't have to sit down and manually do it all myself. Correct?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I notice what's missing here is I don't even have. Where are here's the appointments. Why is this metric not calculating? I got a couple of flunkies with this, but what I would tell you is what's fun to see is how many, because you guys asked me how many hours, what she's worth. And that helps me answer Doug's, challenge last week better. It's like, yeah, you're going to make some decisions to make your life easier. But why in the world would you ever go to a third party like a Zillow when you could buy telemarketing services, follow a formula we know works, and actually targets the sellers at the geography and at the math that you want? You'd pay Zillow more money. So that was a good point he brought up. Now, yes, maybe you feel discouraged if you have to do this yourself and you quote unquote in your head can't afford 10 hours. Fine. Here are the metrics. I don't know what to tell you other than you better get your ass on the phone calling these people, or you're not going to be pursuing people that you don't know. Quit the business. It's the best advice I could give if somebody's not willing to do that. Quit. You got one or two choices. You do it yourself or you hire somebody. And I don't know that I would spend marketing dollars at all until I had for free used fastpeoplesearch.com, looked up in the MLS, which I'm already paying for, presuming I'm a realtor, and made my phone calls following the script and had the package ready to go. I mean, to me, knowing what I know today, that is the bare minimum for any real estate agent who would want to get trained by me. It's the best advice I can give. It's the fastest path to actually getting business from people you don't know. Now, of course, I would open it up and say, do you have past clients? No, I'm brand new. Okay, no sweat. Here's the next thing I would do on social media. I would take what's in the package and I would begin to do something weekly on social. And if you have a little bit of money, you push that around in the geography. So now you're calling into the geography and your social media marketing into the geography. That's about as well-rounded a plan as you could give a new agent. So if it's good for a new agent, it's definitely, well, what's up for us? Cool. What's next? Any more questions about this, Dean? Thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You got something else will bubble up, but keep going.
Yep. Okay.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, bud. Chris, how you doing, bud?
Good. I sent you a flurry of stream of conscious texts and jammed you up the other day, but I was excited, stoked having a nice sized one by, our standards, certainly to round up out the year, and just got me thinking about targeting that area. And it kind of comes back to a discussion we had previously. Of course, I want to, the one we closed, while it was a really good one, I mean, it was a one that came from a 20-year relationship on the seller side and 3-year relationship on the buyer side as far as repeat clients. And you certainly can't mass manufacture that, but you can leverage it, right? So that's why I was wanting, kind of to work on a plan to leverage that kind of success and reference this property and reference this area. That's what's on my mind.
Yeah, cool. Well,
as well as
let me go to a couple of spots here. I want to, because you and Dean are both Realty Cast members. I think Alan was on the Facebook site. I don't know if he's still on or in. Let me show you what I think is the answer to that. So let me just make sure I understand sort of the question is that you want to leverage success, AKA what I've called it success marketing. Yes?
Right, exactly, and I'm specifically referenced. Yeah, right. I've got a good one here. I think I've got a good story to tell, so to speak. It's a matter of then determining the audience that I'm going to tell it to and the medium by which I'm going to get it out there. Because property in question was a 5-plex property in an area. It's a mixture of absentee landlord and multi properties and single family. So I don't know necessarily if blasting a postcard to that or mailing to that immediate area without a very segmented list is going to help, because I'd be hitting a bunch of people that are apartment dwellers.
Okay, so there's your answer. You definitely want to do a just listed, just sold if you want more high end in that area, and you call Quantum Digital and you say, how do I do that? So it's quite simple, right? And then the postcard is intentionally driving them back to your Realty Cast website where you're, immediately, like, is that a buy side, did you say?
It's a sell side and a buy side. It was these people's first investment property.
But hold on. Hold on. I don't need all the history of what it is. I'm really trying to get on the product. Stay focused with me because here's what I'm going to show it to you. Okay. I should have showed it to you instead of letting you go, in your mind there. Here's what I'm saying. You have this ability immediately on your Realty Cast website to hijack digitally. And you've also mentioned, we're talking medium for the delivery of a success message, right? And this is not a primary, it's a secondary effect. So in other words, once you have that sold listing, both on the buy side and the sell side, my simple question is, are both of those properties, the one that was sold and the one that was bought, would you like to do more of that stuff?
Oh, most certainly.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Stop. Good. So now you see these things that are in here. We have these pendings and we have these solds on these areas that are, what we wanted. So you need to be able to send a professional photographer into the one he bought. Okay. And grab just like.
Hold up. Sorry. This was a listing, but I double-sided. That's what I meant.
All right. Even easier. It's just that you would stick to this and you would just come in here and you would create, a featured property. So the question is it already on your website as a featured property?
Is it already on my website as a featured property? Let me pull it up inside. I would assume yes, but
Well, don't
that's
assume.
what I assume.
Don't assume, because that's where I'm going next.
Listing.
So you have this
Yes,
asset.
yes, it is
Okay,
here.
wonderful.
It is
So
here.
all you're going to do is go into the back end. So see, like I'm not logged into the WP-admin, but you would go back in and you would change the status to this, okay, to sold. Follow?
Okay, I'm just seeing you talking. You got a webinar join.me going as well.
I have the GoToMeeting is going, the same helpline.
Go to meeting. Got it. Okay.
Okay. So, but Chris,
Up here.
it's actually quite simple. It's in the back end of your site. Let me go there while you're logging in. You have to log in to see this. I thought you were seeing all this.
No, I was just seeing you talking on the Facebook page. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. You got to get into the GoToMeeting. So that's okay. It's perfect because I'm going to go there. Dean, you should be watching this too. And anybody, I don't know who else we have on for Realty Cast users, but this is a key point.
I'm watching, and while you mention it, I just had my strategy session with Paige and my ed guy, and Paige is going to take over the Realty Cast stuff, so it actually gets done.
Yeah, good, perfect. Because
So
can you see this?
You will have her, and she will get Eric in the next.
Yeah.
With the holiday, but right beginning of January.
Awesome.
Have everybody
Are you
on board and
this
that.
Corey is actually on the Facebook site, but I don't know if Corey is in the GoToMeeting. This is where like Corey and Paige, I definitely would want them to be physically seeing what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Corey, how are you, bud? So happy holidays to him. So basically what I'm showing on the screen, I'll just articulate for those of you that are just on the phone. Chris Egan, tell me when you're in here. At the end of the day, these are properties. What Chris is asking is what I've termed success marketing, which is very important. It's the just sold one that's more important. Just listed is great, but just sold is, I worked backwards. I wanted to build a digital resume on my own website of my best featured properties, so that when somebody would go there and they would look, then they would see this content. And or if they go to the front end, if the telemarketer is talking to somebody and they say, what kind of properties do you do? Well, let me send you a link to our featured properties page, and that will give you an idea. Or as you all know, on the YouTube channel, there was, all these playlists. So there's a lot of ways digitally that we can very quickly organize the best successes that we have and be able to deliver them to somebody for multiple reasons, but not the least of which is to validate. So this concept of testimonials, sure, there's nothing like, a human being saying, Chris was great. Okay. To have some of those is great, but we're missing the major beat, which is resume of solds. You're on?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay. All right. So the resume of solds is everything. So the idea or concept of any website is this section for featured properties. I have my best ones that I want the public to see, highest end, right? So we go, I'll open up the front end and the back end, okay, while I do this. So I have a quick reference spot. But the idea is if you come to vet me on my own website, which is my mothership, which speaks the most about, I am going to not only just give you this, sexy introduction to the company, I'm going to have you see featured listings. And you're going to go to this featured listing thing and you're going to see my resume. Okay. So we have choice here. So we only show, because we want to do more and more of this stuff, we only show mine and my agent's best listings. So you can see in this case, everything's over $1 million, right? And the stuff that says pending, we have these other luxury properties that have gone in, and this is Patty's, so we got to be careful of what pictures we put up here too. We need that's on the water. So we need to have the water, but overlay and all these things. And they will go into the portfolio for sold. Some of these are old. This Cove Road I sold multiple years ago, right? So, but you go through and they can keep clicking. And we have all this, beautiful high-end stuff that's sitting there waiting for them. And slowly but steadily, we 86 stuff, right? So you go back, you have to go back and take a look at some of this stuff, Lumber Mill Road and stuff like that. At some point in time, you got to clean this up. So that's what, you fall behind on that, because you can see we got to get rid of this, but that's the whole idea here. So Chris, in your case, you're simply going in and like, this needs to be there, right? And this is why I say, always take high resolution pictures of anything that you just sold this thing. So if you didn't take them in the beginning, you take it after the fact. That's what I was saying. If you had a buy side, we just said, got the buyer say, do you mind if we have, our photographer come and take a picture of this. We asked a client of ours the other day who just bought in Chatham. Why? We're trying to break into Chatham. Well, she's very security conscious, so she doesn't want us to do interior, but we'll go get 3, 4, 5 pictures of the exterior, right? And we'll put that up here as a sold in Chatham because it will give that address that I so desperately need, right? So this is a totally and highly manipulated content page. Now, how does it work in conjunction with the just sold postcards? Well, I do, let me see if I can find one quickly here. I now go to Quantum Digital and I say, let's send this. And it doesn't have to be just in that geography, Chris. Let's say you wanted to do a couple of areas where you just sold. You could do the immediate high-end area, but there might be one not too far away where you want to say send a just sold. You following me?
Yeah. And then you have the URL direct back to that specific page or that specific listing on your Realty Cast site.
Yeah, or just the whole featured property site. Either or. So that's what I would tell you is I like to just, kind of get them back there in general. Now, what I'm working on, and Brad Hauer and I just spent a lot of time, which we were transparently doing in front of you. I was hoping he could make today, but I think he might be busy. The idea of simplification of postcards, but with intent to say, if I see your billboard or I see your postcard, where do you want me to go? And then when I get there, what's the experience? Does that make sense?
Totally. That makes sense. I'm also though just thinking, in fact, of I remember a guy named Danny Griffin once at a pricing presentation I listened to. I had been in my car where he said people relate to a story, and not everybody's going to have the time to relate or care to read a story. Some people just want to see the sound bites. Other people want to delve into the story. But how do we leverage the story in this case?
It's an awesome
story.
Well, look, dude, it's an awesome question. Here's the great easy answer is that as a Realty Cast member, we will bring that up, but bare minimum is get a video of the people and it goes on that featured page, right? Because you have this media manipulation. Remember, you're able to upload a YouTube video into this page. Remember? Or Wistia. Yeah. So if you do a video of the story of the people and Allison stands behind the camera, Chris sits there as the interviewer, you knock out this video, voila, you have this. Now, in that case, if you really want to drive them back there, you got a picture of you talking to them, you got a couple pictures of the house. So now you got this cool, postcard. By the way, I'm walking and chewing gum trying to get to the postcard to manipulate this. See, this is only limited to our marketing creativity, right? So you go in and you say, all right, look, I've got to go in and do this kind of thing, and drive them somewhere. It has to be intentional. You know what I mean? Let me just get it. I got one here. I needed something. You're online now, right?
I am, but I think your browser's frozen. Now I got it.
Okay. So here's a very zen, beautiful, clean thing that says just sold by us, griffinfeaturedproperties.com. Okay. So there it is. And so that's the front side. Very simple. This was John's. Very simple on the back, johngriffinrealty.com. What's your Charlestown property really worth? So we're beginning to get ready to drive that sort of, okay, the agent did a good job and we drive them back there. But you're only limited, like I said, in this quantum digital layout by your creativity. So let's go to what you said. And I'm gonna give you what I'm doing with Brad right now, which is the same advice to you. Identical. Okay. So let's open up Brad's postcard for a second. So this is his original one. So when I looked at this, the idea was, what is the intentionality of this thing that goes out and where does it go? And of course, it's too much. Like the consumer is becoming wildly, confused by all this stuff, right? I mean, that's the problem with it. So we want to, hang on, let me see if I can come up with another one. See if I have his. You want to just go in there now and start to think about, well, what else would you say and where would you drive them to consume more? So let's presume that this was my house. So presume that on this just sold piece of it, now look what happens, right? Okay. immediately I could go in and change the media right here, that instead of me showing that YouTube video, right, I could have shown a YouTube video of the people and their story. You got it? So up here, and again, we can manipulate this with Eric. I mean, we can have this not rotate in the beginning. I mean, whatever, or we can have it pause, or the video could be separate. But right there, that video right there is an interior of the house. But you could swap that out for the story if you want, because that becomes more important than this sizzle reel, right? Yeah, no?
Swap it out for the story, the interview, you mean?
Correct.
Where you're interviewing the clients and they're telling the story.
Correct. And if you wanted to tie the Just Sold postcard to this, you buy a pretty, link URL, 151bunkerhill.com. And if you could buy it, and they go there and they check it out, but you got to tease them to open it. So there would be a picture of you interviewing the people on the postcard. So you'd have a couple pictures of the house, right? So in other words, going back to that postcard, let's go here, okay? Instead of this big, gratuitous picture, you could, if you wanted to, show you sitting in a room talking to them with the play button on it.
Would that be appropriate for a postcard, though?
Why not? Who's determining what appropriate is? This is your show. This is your money.
Right.
I mean, you want to put it on the back? You could put it on the back. So in front, you could just do that. Drive them to eganfeaturedproperties.com, or if you had a pretty URL for it, go there. And on the back, use one of those slots for a picture of you interviewing them and another picture of the house.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke easy. Now it's all connected to each other. But the idea that I was trying to teach Brad was, why would we ever just send a random out there and not like say, hey, psst, there's kind of more to this. Like if you're interested, there's kind of more. There's a video, right? Let me just see date added. Let me see if I can get. Yeah, go ahead.
And then my mind goes to the stupid tactical question of how to most diplomatically segue into getting these people, sit down for an interview. I mean, they're all happy. They all don't see why they wouldn't.
You ask them, Chris.
What? Just yeah.
Chris, you ask. Stop. You ask them.
Makes sense.
You just helped dude. You just help them get what they want. It's the time for the ask. I'm not going to say more words than that because it will just make your head busy. You're afraid to ask them, or you don't know how. Hey, Danny, you know what? That was a great transaction. I'm thrilled for you. I know that you might feel a little bit awkward about doing this, but I would love to interview about the process, because there's so many people out there that want to know how to go through this process. Would you mind doing that with me? It's painless. I'll ask you a couple questions and that'll be it. You're just talking to me. You'll just sit with me. You'll just talk with me. You won't even know that Allison's there with the deal, right?
Perfect.
But if you don't ask them, then you're definitely not going to get it. See, Happy Griffins was a page, by the way, if you want to see that. This is where we just basically got some of the people that, liked us the best. This is a combination of them all. I think I changed this to be just this, right? So it's just a sizzle of all these people. But there is always a high I in the crowd, that is more than willing. There's some people that are totally paranoid. They're like, oh, hell no, right? Okay, no sweat. And on you go. So, when you get high I clients, you just collect them. A lot of these are older, right? But they're.
My biggest fear was that we weren't going to find a place and it wasn't going to be.
Sad. Those guys are getting divorced. But anyway, at the end of the day, this is the deal here, right? Is that You have this YouTube opportunity. Now you could actually do it because you have the ability to create a page. You could create a Happy Egan's page and drive one side to featured properties, one side to these things, right? Make sense? You're limited by your creativity. But my point is, I was talking to Kate about this before the call. Why are you doing any of this is the question. Well, certainly celebrating your success in the face of people, like being able to go to the neighbors and say, I was just successful in this neighborhood and I'd like to be successful again. Check us out. So they go and they see these featured property pages. These things look really sexy because where do you see the stuff that's up our sleeve for RealtyCast websites with mapping and everything? I'm going to show you that in a second. So you're just limited to your creativity. You should walk through my entire site and say, what's he doing strategically? Why is he doing it? So your just sold postcard, driving them to 2 spots, for example, could be, great. You could drive them to a property evaluation page. Do you have a property evaluation page set up yet? Right? That's the question. So that's just another video of me talking about that. So I have the ability to put that on the back of the postcard, right? So that's it, Chris. It's quite easy. And all this stuff is on the Realty Classroom Teachable site. So all your guidance is there. Yeah? Hello.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you now. I lost you for a second.
Yep. Okay. All right. That's it. I'm done because you'll get ADD on me.
No, that was perfect. And that was immensely helpful actually as well. Cause I mean, you're right. A lot of times I feel like I don't know how to ask, which may seem silly, but I just don't know how to, I think that's so conversational. And
well, here's how to ask. Help them understand that you're not gratuitously using this for your benefit. You truly believe that if you could just tell other people what the process was like, that they too didn't think they could get it done, that they too, trusted your plan and that they too were successful, right? Like that's the idea, is to share the success of the process with you. It's not for you to gratuitously use it. It's for those that want to be need validation. They don't know you. See, there's a lot of people that don't know me and trust me yet. I'd love to just have your story. You and I sit there and rap about it. We film it. I got a couple of the stories up there, right?
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Right, makes sense.
Oh, hey, Chris. So like last summer I did this and I was really nervous about it. And it worked out so nice. I called 2 past clients, seniors that I helped, and I said, I basically just called them and said, "Hey, Paul, can't you? Oh, hey, we'd already gone out for beers and stuff before." I said, "Hey, it's been a minute since we last chatted, but do you think I could? I have a favor to ask you." And they're like, "Oh, sure." And I said, "Would you mind me meeting me, for a slice of pizza and beer, and me videotaping you, kind of just telling the camera about your experience with my office?" And they were like, "Oh, of course, absolutely. You were so great." Da, da, da. It was totally casual. Went across the street to the pizza place and, ordered pizza, ordered a pitcher of beer. And about halfway through, they said, "You ready to say the thing on the camera?" Like, yeah. And it was so easy. I put them up on Facebook a long time ago. I can send them to you if you'd like, but it was super casual and it was really fun. They love doing that.
Yeah, just make sure you have the beats. Everyone is a formula, okay? Because everything that you all do, I want to be strategic, which means it's intentional. That every time you sit down, it might need some editing by Kirill or somebody because it goes a little bit longer with each person. But there's a formula, okay? Why did you start to do this and what were you worried about, okay? And then what was it like going through the process with me, right? And why were you so happy in the end? You sort of just hit a couple of beats, okay? You were thinking about doing this and you were worried about what? Okay, well, I was thinking about doing this and I was worried about, so they repeat it back to you. But then when you showed me this process that you follow, this buyer process, this seller process, right? And then I had this really happy ending and I would encourage anybody to get your guidance. That's it. So you're always sort of hitting these beats. So there's a formulaic approach to it. It's the hero's journey. Enters the hero with a problem, right? Enters the guide with a plan. And we have an outcome, happy ending. That's it. It's how it works. So it's the story, it's the formula, it's storybrand.com, which we talk about all the time here. Enters the hero who has a problem, enters the guide who has a plan, and then we overcome and become victorious. Here's how you can become one of us. So the last fourth beat would be the call to action, but it's less gratuitous when it comes to testimonials, right? Need our help? Start here. Want our help? Start here. And that's why I have all that stuff on demand: free agent course, free seller course, free buyer course, and I've been saying that in my social media post. If you want more help, head on over to griffincourses.com. Okay. And I got tons of work to do. I just keep falling forward though. I mean, you go over there, it's sloppy. There's some pig Latin still in some of it, right? So I just keep trying to fall forward with this whole idea so that this funnel continues to get built out a little bit at a time. All right, let me go to this thing for a second. I want to show you something. So the big dogs on the street that a lot of us have been distracted by are the Redfins of the world or the Zillows of the world. And you can see they're playing the exact identical game. So in this case, I just put Boston, Mass for both of them. And we basically look at the user interface and how they do things. So they're grouping 138 things here and, all these little scripts that, triangulate and stuff. It's just all coding. It takes time. But in the meantime, we looked at this and said, okay, these two are really just copying each other. That's all they're doing. They're just ripping each other off. And so we said, all right, well, what do we do? Because we want the consumer, when they come to the search function of this RealtyCast website, we want to be in this game. So we go to the search all listings thing here. And again, I want all you IDX users to understand that this is what people are doing when they come here. So immediately you just come here and you're like, okay, well, we have the beautiful pictures. We've been able to populate all that and, open up these pages and stuff like that. And it looks good. But ultimately, we want to get in this game. But instead of just running there, Eric and I said, well, what if we just made it a little bit simpler? What if we only populated, like we went to Airbnb, they're wild. And what's interesting is they put less up on the thing. They don't immediately put like Zillow is totally a cluster. And so like when my mind goes and sees that, I kind of get confused, right? So I said, okay, I like these guys better. There's cleaner, but there was something really sexy about like less is more. So the ability to kind of just go down here and only populate 15 and then be able to go to the next round. And immediately it populates the next round of what's there. And this could be, sorted by price, guess, etc. So this concept of all of this stuff that we're trying to do, David versus the Goliath, well, we already have the technology in place where we've started to manipulate these pages to work like this. Not the least of which is when somebody comes to your homepage, and let me get out of here for a second. You get to the homepage and you go look at this stuff. People are, when they come to you, this is your storefront. So like a lot of you, I don't hear a lot of you talking about any kind of website or what you're doing or your cognizance, because there's some very basic things that people will do to judge you when you're doing things like the telemarketing. So this whole concept of these neighborhoods, we're going to move in that like direction where, for example, this page will look exactly like what you just saw. And we talked about, look, we don't even need this big slider anymore. And plus it's hard, it looks goofy, manipulating the pictures, blah, blah, blah. It's not what they want. What people want is this stuff. They want to immediately go there and they'd like to see the map of what it's at. And then we show enough of them. And then below the tier, we start to like populate all the things that would be important to somebody learning about it. So what's exciting is we're actually starting to catch up on the big dogs already, because once it's just a matter of, here I go again. What's your creativity? What do you know about user interface? And what do you know about consumer experience? Well, these guys know a lot about it, but you can see even the big companies. I mean, so what, how much money they have? That sucks. Like that sucks. That's my point to you all. So don't fret that companies have come in, because I'm just telling you, man, David can win this fight. Okay. So anything for whatever that's worth for all you RealtyCast users, RealtyCast users, that's where we're going. And you're going to be able to like really see that. But also now being able to say, do we make an offer here? What kind of offer, what kind of pop-up do we make here? And that's the next idea is, I get it that everybody can sign in, but can we still go for that old school IDX moment where the upsell is, hey, Did you know you could get these directly in your inbox, right? And hey, did you know you can get solds? Whatever. So we'll begin to play with it. But the idea was to first catch up and say, this is not rocket science. It just takes, savvy. And I happen to have an excellent technical partner who understands what I want. And he's been able to pull this off already and geocode stuff, and off we go. So there's exciting times for search too, where traffic can be run to this. And remember, this is not going to all be housed on a site where we just went over all this other stuff. So you can become your own advertiser. For example, once we begin to code this, we could pop in an advertisement here that says, find out what your Beacon Hill property is really worth. So they see property, and then your own ad. That's my point. And they would stay on your website. It wouldn't be leaky, and they'll be there. And I just think Tony and Legendary and I were spending a lot of time talking about funnels the other day. And this is the point here, is that you want these people in funnel. I happen to want them on my website in funnel, right? So there's just a quick little update on what's happening there. All right, next question. What do we got? I don't know who's on here, how many we have. I know we have a small crew.
Hey, Danny, I'm going to go back down that trail, but quick question regarding the video. If I'm there as the interviewer to present the questions, I am then edited out of the final video, right? So it's just them talking.
Well, that's a great question. It's a wonderful question you're asking. That's up to you, actually. It's up to you, because editing can make it all clean. You can ask the question and they can repeat it. If you're going to be edited out, it's probably better to script out, and have that little interview like, an interviewer would have in front of them to say, look, I'm going to ask you this question, and just start off your answer by repeating the question. Okay. Say, I started this process because, right? That could be the first beat.
Right.
I was worried about this happening. Chris stepped in with his plan and this happened. And then ultimately I had this success, which can be a little bit more freeform. So what I learned in TV is they would feed that opening line and they would say, start with that. And then you would that's what reality TV was. They would just sort of guide you on how you began. And then it was a natural provocation, right? Because you're talking about your own story when you're the client.
Right. I started this process because I was worried about.
No, I started this process because I wanted to buy myself an investment property once and for all. I was sick and tired of talking about it. Okay. The next beat.
Right.
I was worried about going through the process because I had no clue, how this really worked. Enter the guide with his plan. So when I hooked up with Egan Realty Group, they had a plan and it was simple. It was like kind of this and this, and then they go off a little bit. And now I'm super happy because I found my investment. I got to sell this one. I found the next one, and I'm looking forward to doing it. I highly recommend the Egans, right? Something like that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's not the point. You want it to be as natural as it can be by just simple coaching with them. Go ahead, Whitehead. What were you going to ask? You opened your mic.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's not the case in all areas, but I just found this out that my photography guy that does all the videos and photos for me, he'll actually, you give him a client's name, he'll call him up, schedule to go out, ask 5 or 6 questions.
Yep.
Put it on a thing, and you're done.
Yep.
You don't have to show up.
Yep. Amen, brother. I love that.
Want to.
I love it.
Which really, I want the video guy doing it because he knows how to do it.
Yep. Perfect. Perfect. Well, you just want to make sure when you're listening to me that we get the right beats, right? Because I don't know how good or not. And again, real estate is real estate. So, but if you simply gave them story brand formula and said, look, here's the idea. Enter the hero with a problem. Okay. Have them talk about me entering as the guide, and have him talk about our success together. If he hit those 3 beats like that, had the formula in his hand, and he grabbed enough good beats and he edits it together, you have a professionally edited situation. It's killer. I love it. It's an excellent suggestion. Bravo.
Well, I guess I was saying is maybe check with your guy that does your media.
Yep.
He probably, who knows, he might do it all the time. You know? Like, it's just second nature to him.
Yeah, bravo.
You don't have to worry about over stressing it.
Yep.
The benefit to having someone else do the interview is it makes it easier for the person who's being interviewed to actually use your name, because they're not going to use your name when they're talking to you.
Yeah, and there's no, I don't know, reliance on the relationship, unless of course they're super nervous, right? Sometimes talking to you
Yep.
makes somebody
Yep.
who's skittish feel comfortable. But I still like Whitehead's idea that if you have a photographer who's doing your video stuff now, have them do it with you or without you, but hit the beats.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I think he charged like $75 or something.
Yeah, it's a joke, man, because
It was,
remember,
like, ridiculously cheap.
well, Dave, remember, if it is a featured property in an area that we want, and then we're driving traffic to it, on our website, through Facebook, through YouTube, through postcards, you own it forever. It's a piece of content that you're driving traffic to. See, we create a lot of content, or at least I hope you do, create that weekly content for the sake of just being vetted. But then once in a while, that's what I was doing today with the Realty Classroom. I was looking for one that has had, organically, is there anything that stood out to me that I would then spend money and drive traffic to that one particular thing, two particular things, whatever it might be. So then you have this other surrounding. So if you had one really killer testimonial, but you had this page where you had this collage of videos, you drive it to the featured, you have one big featured video at the top, and then all these little segments. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yep.
Cool. Bravo. All right. What else? Anything else? All right, listen. That's an hour. That's enough of this a couple of days before Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. If you don't, take the time to spend, writing in a journal about your strategy. I really hope you all do that in lieu of these one-on-ones for just a couple sessions, 2 days. Take that half hour that we've blocked out. Just think onto a pad. When you look back at last year, what did you do well strategically, and what do you need to do this year? Don't beat yourself up. That's a waste of time. Otherwise, Merry Christmas, and I will see you on the helpline next Monday. And then after that, we'll resume the regular calls. All right. See y'all later. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Manny.
You bet. You bet. Appreciate you all.
Have a great week.
Thank you. You all too. Thank you.
Everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call.